Section 5. Taking data modules to next level. So far we have seen how we can quickly create data module from data servers and add uploaded file contents to it. In this section we are going to take data modules to next level in many ways. In the end we will also learn how to generate stitched fact table, and we will pull that in the module to use on the dashboard. This section has 4 videos. First video is called Improve Module by Examining Data Model. The second one is called Refine Module by Filtering and Cleaning. Third one is called Extend Module by creating custom calculations. And the last one is Generating Stitched Facts, How and Why. 5.1 Improve Module by Examining Data Model. In this video, I will show you some options that are useful to examine the data model you have created and correct the issues. Also, we will see how to check and correct the usage of columns as measures, attributes, and identifiers. In this video, we will take a look at how to examine the cardinalities of all joins easily without opening each join. Then we will confirm relationship between the items by degree of separation, and we will remove unwanted columns, define appropriate usage for all the columns, and validate the model. So let's open the data module from where we left it in the last section. So we go to My Content, Packed Exercises, and open 4.3 Actual and Potential Sales. We are going to carefully examine the data model here. The first thing I'm going to do is reorganize the objects so that I can clearly see the relationships or joins between them. So if there is any table or object here that is not joined to any other object, then that should be the first thing to sort out. As we do not have any such object, the next thing we are going to do is examining all the cardinalities in each of these joins. Rather than editing each join to examine the cardinality, I am going to use this feature called Change View by clicking on this icon and enabling cardinality to be shown on the canvas. So, in very easy manner, I can see the cardinalities for each join, which is 1 to many here and 1 to many on this side, which is correct because time is my dimension and fact is the actual sales data here, and this bit is the potential sales figures which I uploaded in the Excel file. Similarly, product dimension has 1 to many relationship to the facts, and I've got the product line lookup which has got 1 to many relationship with product dimension. So I'm happy with the cardinalities. If the model is really large and complex and having tens of objects, then I would like to show you another useful feature which is called degree of separation. So if I select this object and I wanted to see how many objects are connected to it with degree of separation as 1, it would show me that only 2 objects are connected to it. Whereas if I change it to 2, I can see that few more objects appear, meaning those are connected to potential sales by degree of 2. Our model is fairly simple, so we don't need to go in detail, but this will be very useful if you have a larger or more complex data model. The next step is to go through each object and name them appropriately. In order to do that, I'll click on Go Time Dimension, click on this icon here, select Rename, and I will simply call it Time. Similarly, I'm going to right click on Sales Fact, click on Rename, and call it Actual Sales. So this way I've renamed all the 5 objects. The next thing we are going to do is open each table and look at all the keys one by one. And we are going to ask 3 questions. So let's take day key, and firstly we need to ask ourselves, do I really need this column in the model? So the answer is yes, we need it because it is used for joining with the fact tables. The next question is, do I need to use it in the dashboard? If not, I could hide it, and if yes, I'll keep it as visible. In this case, I'm going to keep it as visible. The third question we are going to ask is, do I need to rename it? And lastly, we need to check the usage of the item by clicking on Properties and checking what the usage is. So here it says this column is used as identifier, which is correct. The 3 options we have are identifier, attribute, and measure. In general, identifier are the keys which are used for relationship or join between objects. Also, identifier are those set of columns which can uniquely identify entries in the table. The other option is attribute, which means it is a column that is giving some extra information, but it is not used for any joining, and it is not used to uniquely identify entries in the table. And measure are the numerical measures or figures. So in this case, day key is identifier, and that is correct. Now let's look at day date. So what is day date? Day date has this symbol, which basically means that this column represents time or date. This is also an identifier type column, but if I want to see the actual values in the column, I can just click on this data tray icon, and Cognos has retrieved the values for it. So I can see that my day key was essentially the key in the format of YYYYMMDD, whereas day date is the date format column, and I guess I will be needing both of them in the model as well as in the dashboard. This way we will go one by one, and those which we need in the model but we don't need on the dashboard, we can just hide them. For example, month, number, day of week, day of month, day of year, etc. So there are items which I may need in the model, but I'm not going to use in the dashboard, and I'm going to hide them. Some of them I don't even need in the model. In that case, I can simply remove them. I can also hold Control key down and select multiple items and remove all of them together. So this way I've removed all the unnecessary items, and I've only kept day key, day date, month key, quarter key, current year, and month name in English. I'm also going to rename this column so that it's more clear. I'll call it month name. Lastly, we are going to click on this open validation tray icon and then choose to validate this model. If there are any validation issues, then they will show up here. In this case, in our case, there are no validation issues, so our module is validated OK. This way, we have examined the data module carefully and improved it by removing unwanted columns, hiding columns that are needed in the model but not on the dashboards, giving appropriate names to tables and columns, and defining correct usage for each column.